Hi, I'm Janani Ragothaman. I've played Ultimate both out of state and in the Kansas City area, and I'm here today to talk to you about what it means to read the disc and talk through some ways that you can improve your own skills so you can prove to others that you have your library card. Alright, so first let's start with discussing what reading the disc means. So reading the disc is basically just understanding the trajectory of the disc and how that lines up with your path and with the position where you can best attack it. And so this is especially relevant to hucks or any other high or floaty throws, because those are the type of throws that are most likely to get contested. And it's important therefore on both offense and defense, because on offense, if you can read the disc, it improves your chances of catching the disc and maintaining possession. And on defense, if you have good disc reading skills, then you'll have a higher likelihood of causing a D, so basically deflecting the disc or catching the disc, which would result in a turnover. So like any other skill, reading the disc is something that's just going to come with more experience and practice, but there are a few things that you can focus on to improve your skills. So one of the first ones would be to notice the thrower, and again, this is something that the more that you play with certain people, you'll be able to recognize their release points and their angles. So whenever possible, you can try to note the angle that the thrower is throwing at, so whether that's flat, IO, OI, and that should give you kind of an idea as to how the disc is going to fly depending on the weather conditions. So the next thing that you can notice as well is the relative speed and height that the disc is at, because that'll again give you an idea as to how quickly the disc is traveling, how quickly it's going to fall, and where you are in relation to that falling point and that traveling. And the third thing to consider after the throwing angle of the thrower and the speed and height of the disc is the weather conditions, because ultimately how windy it is definitely going to affect the way that your disc that you're attacking is going to be floating and how quickly it's going to fall and travel. So remember, like any other ultimate skill, this is something that is just going to come with practice and experience, and it's something that you can practice whether you're in a game situation or during drills or even just throwing with friends. And there are some things that you should think of while you're practicing, especially when just throwing or in drills. So the first thing to remember is, when possible, always catch with two hands over one, because it's generally going to be more secure. The second thing is, whenever you're throwing or in drills, just always try to actually attack the disc. This is for two reasons. One, hopefully you'll be jumping for it then, so that'll help you get a better idea of what your max vertical is, so then you'll have an idea in a game situation what height you can actually attack the disc successfully at. And two, when you attack the disc, you tend to have a lot more confidence, so you're more likely to actually catch it instead of just waiting for it to hopefully, hit your hand and hopefully not bounce out of it. So the third thing to think of is to always try to take the most direct route to the disc, so that you're not wasting time and that you can be competitive in your timing with other people who are trying to get the disc. And lastly, you do have to consider the other people who are around, their relative spacing both to you and to the disc, so that you can best position yourself to not commit a foul but to also get the disc. So as I mentioned earlier, reading the disc is especially important on hucks and other high and lofty throws, because they tend to be the most contested throws, meaning there's going to be other people in the area. So Jordan here, for example, is my defender, and if we have a disc coming in and we're both trying to get it, I want to use my body to position myself not only in the best spot to get the disc at my appropriate vertical, but also I want to get in her way without causing a foul, of course. So I would box out. You probably heard the term, which is basically, using your booty to get in a good position and take the inside lane to the disc. And again, sometimes I'm not going to be in the ideal position. The disc might be coming in from over here, so I want to take the most direct route that I can to try to get the disc and take it from Jordan. Keep in mind, of course, that the people around you might have a different vertical, so that'll have to be taken into account with how you play. Sometimes if you're on defense, you just want to jump and get in there, of course without causing a foul, just to try to create a defensive play and try to do your best to deflect the disc and affect your opponent. And remember, since reading the disc tends to apply especially to a lot of hucks and longer, floaty, high throws, there's often going to be times when you might be further back from where, the disc is. And so even if you're not in ideal positioning, when the disc is released by the thrower, you need to do the best that you can to take the most direct route so you can get there as soon as possible and hopefully have a chance at making a play on the disc. So now you'll see me chase down a few discs. So think about the things that were discussed earlier. One, try to catch with two hands when possible. Two, try to attack the disc at your max vertical. 3, try to always take a direct route to the disc when possible. And 4, consider when there's other people in the area, their positioning both relative to you and to the disc. And remember, this is always a skill that can be improved, and it just takes experience to continue to get better at it, so don't be discouraged.